have a question. Yes, you come here. Come here. Do you want to go to the graveyard rich? Are you going to go to the graveyard rich? Now, let me tell you what I mean by that. There was an elder that told me this quote a few weeks ago, that the graveyard is the richest place on earth. And why is that? Well, it's because so many people die with visions, ideas, dreams, plans that they wanted to do that they never did. Now, some could argue and say, well, they never got a chance to, or they just sat on it. Now, of course, we know man's going to the Lord and everything is of the Most High, but God is not going to force you to do anything. So if He's putting something in your spirit and calling you to do something, then why aren't you doing it? Let me ask you again. Do you want to go to the graveyard rich? Because I'm sure you that's watching, you have talents, gifts, visions that you want to do for yourself, for your family, to better the nation, to build the ministry up. Just sitting on it. You're not doing anything to build up God's ministry, to build up God's kingdom. So I'm asking you again, do you want to go to the graveyard rich? Because the Most High has given us all these talents and ideas and thoughts and gifts, and what are we doing with it? So I want to read this. Romans 12:1. I beseech you therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present your body as a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. Let's read this. Stick with me. It's not going to be too long, but it's going to be a good word today, Lord willing. To make your body a living sacrifice for God means to fully dedicate your entire self, actions, desires, mind, and will to Him as an ongoing act of worship, transforming your daily life to align with His purposes rather than the world's values. It's a conscious choice to present your living self to God using your physical being, bodies, talents, choices as an instrument for His righteousness, resisting worldly pleasures and living a life set apart for His glory. Key aspects of being a living sacrifice: total surrender, spiritual worship, transformation, not conformity, living for His purpose, a daily willing act. Now, let's go into what those mean. Total surrender means laying down personal desires, ambitions, and plans before God, allowing Him to control your desires and actions. Spiritual worship, viewing your whole life, how you work, love, care for your body, and use your gifts as worship, making every part of you holy and acceptable to God. Transformation, not conformity, actively choosing to be changed, transformed by God's truth rather than being molded, conformed by the world's systems, lust, and pride. Living for His purpose, using your body as a tool for righteousness, serving others, showing mercy, and living a life that reflects God's loving character. In a daily willing act, it's a conscious choice, not a one-time event, where you freely yield your life to God's will, contrasting with the finality of Old Testament animal sacrifices. So, practical examples: care for your body, treat it as a holy temple, because that's where the Spirit dwells, in our temple. Generosity, using resources and talents for God's kingdom rather than selfish accumulation. I'm going to read that again. Using resources and talents for God's kingdom rather than selfish accumulations. Resisting temptation, choosing sexual purity and avoiding worldly materialism. And serving others, putting other needs before your own. I want to harp on the using your talents to build up God's kingdom part, because this is what we're here to do. Romans 12:1 says to make your body a living sacrifice. So what does that mean? Well, let's read this. Let's go to Sirach 35:4. Sirach 35:4 says, thou shalt not appear empty before the Lord. Now, why is Sirach 35:4 telling us that? Because the Most High wants us to bring Him something. He wants us to bring an offering to Him. He wants us to make a sacrifice for Him. And how can we do that? By giving our last and every all to the Most High God. That's what that means. Let's get another one. Let's read Sirach 41:15. It says, a man that hideth his foolishness is better than a man that hideth his wisdom. Now, why does it say that? Because when the Most High has blessed you with talents and gifts and wisdom, and you're not using it to help build up His ministry in any way, shape, or form, then you're just sitting on it. And a man that is foolish is better than you, because God has gifted you with talents and gifts and wisdom, but you're not using it in any way, shape, or form to build up His ministry, to magnify the ministry, to magnify His name, to help in any way. You know, it's one thing, all praise to the Most High, if you're talented in cooking and sewing and whatever that the Most High has gifted you to know how to do. That's beautiful to know. But if you're not using it to help His ministry, if you're not using it to build up His kingdom, if you're not using it to build up His ministry, if you're not using it to help the nation, if you're not using it to help your congregation, to help the body that you're in, then you're just sitting on it. What's the point of having it if you're not going to use it? Let's read something else. Let's go to Mark 12 and 41. Actually, let's read Matthew 25 and 22 first. Let's read that first. He also that received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. So when the Most High has gifted us with these talents and gifts, we want to multiply them and not just sit on them. We want to multiply them and do something with them. Now, this is our last one that I wanted to read. Let's read Mark. Mark 12 and 41. And Yahushua sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury, and many that were rich cast in much. And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto his disciples, and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow hath cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. Are you giving God all that you have? Are you devoting as much time as you can to God's kingdom, to his ministry, to build up his ministry? Because we have to remember that the Bible tells us that we are all part of the body, and we all have to put in some work to make the body effectively work. Think about it like this. How will you have a full functioning healthy body if some of your organs start to fail and not working, and if your hands are not working? You won't. Your body will not be in the best state, and it won't be as effective as possible if some of your members weren't working. Likewise, how can we be an effective, strong body of God building up his kingdom and his ministry if we're not all putting in effort, putting in this work in, putting in our brick to build up his kingdom and to help his ministry? So I just want to encourage you all to use your talents, use your gifts, use it to glorify and magnify the Lord, because ultimately that is why we're here. We're not here based off our own desire and self, Google said, selfish accumulations. We're here to magnify and glorify the name of the Lord. Ecclesiastes 12 and 13 tells us that we are here to keep his commandments. We're here to serve, fear God, and keep his commandments. That is why we're here. So again, I'm going to ask you, are you going to go to the graveyard rich? Do you want to go to the graveyard rich? And remember, when I ask you that, I'm asking in a sense of people that died with so many visions and plans and dreams that they wanted to do that they never did because they just didn't set aside the time to do it. Set aside the time to do the things that the Most High has put in your spirit. Use your talents to help build up the congregation that you're in. Use your talents to help build up the ministry of the Most High God. Don't just sit on it. We're here to magnify and serve the Lord. So I hope that this was edifying to some. Whoever, hopefully it doesn't fall on deaf ears. And I hope and pray that, Most High willing, this is something that we can think on and meditate on. That we don't go to the graveyard rich. And that while we're here, we're doing everything that we can to make every day count. We're doing everything we can to serve the Lord. We're giving our all unto the Lord. Now we know that we cannot do, Sirach 43 and 30 tells us we can never go far enough, but we can surely try. So I also want to leave you all with this. I know sometimes they may be nervous to start a new talent. They might be nervous to start a new venture. It might be nervous to start a new business. But it's better to take the leap of faith and say that you did it instead of just sitting on it and saying that you didn't do it. Because remember, we have to give account of everything we said, we did, and we didn't do. So all praise to the Most High. Shalom.